Well, in Los Angeles, doing the weather's a great job because 9 months a year there is no weather, so it's not. But the challenge, the other side of the coin is, what do you talk about? I mean, what do you do with your 3 minutes when it's the 97th straight day of low clouds in the morning and 75 degrees, and how are you? So we just in the telling, all of the things are stupid, but there's one stupid thing I did, which oddly enough led to greater things. And one night I went on the air, and the format was it's time for the weather, and you sit there with the anchor person. Hey, Pat Sajak's here. What's another day about it, blah, blah, blah. And then they'd go to commercial, and then when they come back, I'd be at the weather board. That was the format. So I'm on the set with the guy, and I had a little Band-Aid on my face. He didn't know anything about it either. And he, naturally enough, asked, and I said, I just nicked myself a little bit. Sorry about that. And I go on. They go to commercial. They come back, and now you're doing the weather, and every time, and then they would cut away from you periodically to look at a weather map or a piece of video or whatever it was. But every time they cut away, I would move the Band-Aid somewhere else. That was my idea of humor then. And so, you'd come back, it'd be here, it'd be there. Just a stupid, innocuous thing to do to try to get a chuckle out of the anchor guy. Well, it turned out one of the guys who was sitting at home and thought that was the most brilliant piece of comedy he ever saw was Merv Griffin, who at the time had a little show called Wheel of Fortune on it. One of the great things about working in local TV in Los Angeles is, in a way, you're auditioning every night because all the producers live there and sit at home and watch the news like everybody else. And Merv called me and said, when you get a call that says, hey, it's Merv Griffin on the phone, and you're doing the weather in Los Angeles, you pick up the phone and you say, hi, Merv, and you genuflect whatever you need to do. And he said, I've got this show called Wheel of Fortune, which had been on the air for 7 years on NBC in daytime with a guy named Chuck Woolery. He said, Chuck's leaving. You ever think about doing game shows? And I hadn't much. I'd done some, periodically people had called me and I tried out for things and all that, but I didn't know the show real well, and I sort of put off Merv a little bit, and I said, well, let me think about it, and how flattered I am that you called. And then the next day I had to run to a TV set and turn on this Wheel of Fortune show and see what it was. And I remember my first thought was, there's nothing for me to do. They're spinning a wheel. And at the time they had shopping on the show where housewives would take 12 minutes to decide between the couch and the lamp. It was pretty riveting stuff. But I thought, I don't know how I'm going to, what can I do? But it's Merv Griffin. What do I say? So I expressed my reservations, and he said, look, and the other thing I said was, I don't know if I'm a game show host, because I can't do that. At the time, there was sort of this stereotypical, hey, you just won 10,000. I don't talk that way, although I did a pretty good job then, didn't I? But I said, I don't know if I can do that. And he said, look, I don't want you to do that. He said, do it just the way you do it. And he said, well, come on in, we'll do a tape. We'll see if we like you, see if you like us. And I did, and it went well, and he offered me the job, and I decided to take it. Which surprised some of my friends who also had trouble seeing me in that role. And I will say, to the day Merv died, he never once went back on that word. He never once called me or had an intermediary call me and say, how come you did that? Why'd you do it that way? He just let me do it. And I'll always be grateful for that. It was terrific.